After months of work, several visits to the dump, and clearing a lot of stuff out, the painting and gaming area is finally operational. Hi, I'm Rob Poyton, and today on Dragon's Teeth, we're talking sheds and shopping. So yes, it's taken a little while, but the shed is now finally functional. It isn't finished yet. There's still, lots of little pieces to do. I've still got to put some more insulation up at the back of the shed. There's some clearing out to do at the back, as you'll see a little bit later on. But the important thing is my painting desk is now set up. I've got the table set up here. I can do filming, I can do painting, and I might even get to do some gaming here as well. Of course, things are going to change a little bit as we go along. You know what it's like. When you set something up, you have an idea, but then, as they say, no plan survives contact with the enemy. So no doubt there'll be a few tweaks as I go along. But as from next week, I won't have to get everything out in the kitchen anymore. I'm going to be painting in the shed. I'll give you the full guided tour in a minute. But before we get on to that, I just wanted to mention some of the things I bought recently on various shopping trips. As you may know, I went to Dragon Meet last Saturday, which is a great day out. But I didn't really do much shopping there. Well, very little. In fact, all I bought was this pack of figures. So these are from Modular Art Worlds. I'll put the link up in the notes below. I think they're based in Cornwall, and they do a really nice range of 3D printed figures. Really quite original. And when I saw these, I couldn't resist getting them. They're officially called Piranhas, but to me, they look very much like deep ones. So that's how they're going to get painted up. That's how they're going to get used initially in the fantasy skirmish game. But who knows what else? Maybe they'll pop up in something Cthulhu-esque as well. My other shopping has been in my local B&M store. As is usually the way in B&M, I went in there to get one thing and ended up getting several different things that I didn't even know I needed, right? But they had pretty much half an aisle of, I guess you'd call it, storage. So a number of boxes and trays and things like this. I think this is called like a makeup holder or nail varnish bottle holder, but excellent for paints. And these were £3, £3.50, perfect for storing my paints in. I got a couple, but of course, as is always the way, I found some more paints in another box, so I'm going to nip down there tomorrow and get a couple more while they've got them. That's the only thing I find with B&M. If you see something in there and you think you might need it, get it, because the ranges seem to change very quickly. So that was the first thing. Now, the second thing was called a jewellery holder. And this is what they look like. So little trays to put your jewellery and stuff in, I guess. But I had a quick measure up because I didn't have a tape measure on me, but of course I went to the DIY section and borrowed one, and I thought these will perfectly fit my 10mm figures, and as you can see they do. I can get two strips of 10mm in there with not a lot of space, so they're not going to rattle around too much. I did get a couple of these again as well, and as you'll see they do stack nicely. So of course when I transport these, I'll put them in another box. I'll put some stuff over the top. But again, I'll probably get some more of these because I thought these are also good for dice and counters and lots of other stuff as well. They were £3.50 each, which from my experience is cheaper than you see on certain online stores. In fact, I did buy a paint holder or a nail varnish holder similar to these recently on Amazon. It's a little bit longer, a little bit bigger. And I think that was about 10 quid or something like that, if memory serves me correct. But it came with no fittings. I had to try and glue it together, and it's already falling apart. So I thought for a few quid, nail varnish holder, jewellery trays, can't go wrong. And I'm sure there'll be some other stuff in there you might find useful too. And no, I'm not sponsored by B&M. It's just one of my favourite shops at the moment. I think last time I went there at Halloween, I got spider webs that are going to be useful for something. All right, that's it for the shopping. The only other thing I bought recently was the set of Fantastic Battles rules the 10mm Fantasy War Games rules, which I've already done a report on. And we are running a game of that this Sunday at Bedford Gladiators. It's December's All Day Sunday, so we thought we'd set up a battle to test those out. And of course, I'll upload the report here next week. Now, back to the shed, finally operational. Let me show you around. So we've got two main areas in here at the moment. This is the space where I do all my filming. I put the table there across, and we've got the lovely backdrop and everything set up. This is multifunctional because not only do I use this for Dragon's Teeth, but I pull those curtains across and I use that to do a lot of my Zoom classes as well, particularly my Qigong and breathwork sessions. These are all my lighting stands and microphone stands, and as you can see, if we go up here, I've put numerous hooks in. You get a nice look at it's very sort of UFO or Space 1999 sort of lagging as well. That was very easy to put up actually. So yeah, I've put lots of hooks in, so not only can I trail wires through those rather than having going across the floor and everything else, but also I can put rails on those that I can then fix lights to as well. So that gives me more flexibility for my lighting. And the lighting I found really useful are these LED lights. They come in pairs, they're about 25 quid off of Amazon, and you get coloured gels to put on them, and you can change the temperature of them and the brightness and everything else. I think I mentioned these already in an earlier upload. But yeah, very cheap, very effective, and of course being LED, they don't cost a fortune to run. There's the new backdrop. I did discover through the Innsmouth Literary Festival this backdrop thing. I never knew this was a thing, and now I'm slightly addicted. You send them a PDF and pay about 60-70 quid, and you can get these huge vinyl backdrops, anything you like. Marvellous. I think I've got about 3 or 4 of these already. Now, as I've mentioned a few times here, when I'm painting or modelling or making stuff, I do like to have some music on. So this is the entertainment section. You can see I've got my old CD player here. That's a nice one because it holds 5 CDs, so you don't have to keep getting up to change it. Cambridge audio amp and an old tape deck as well. I daren't play any old tapes in that because you know what they're like, cassettes. They either unravel or snap. And I've got some of my CDs in here already. There's a lot more to come in. Here we've got a collection, quite eclectic. Tom Waits, Alex Harvey, Love, Captain Beefheart, Derek and Clive, and I even see some Ivor Biggin in there. So quite a varied mix. And it's nice to keep the place fragrant, so we've got some incense going. I must get a proper incense holder. That's next on the list. And a scented candle there with a few little figures and figurines I have as well. Most of my martial arts gear is outside now in a box in the training area, but I've still got a few bits and pieces there to sort out. And again, these shelves still really need to be cleared out and some stuff put on. That brings us across to the doorway. So there's quite a gap in these doors at the moment. They really need to be rehung. So in order to cut out drafts and light, I had some old curtains here that I've used. They do the job. Then we're on to another set of shelving. So this is going to be all my modelling material basically. We're starting with fillers and the like at the top. Then we're going down to scatter and terrain. Then there's going to be some crafting stuff and other bits and pieces here. Some foam board, some odds and ends. I think there's a load of, there's all that Fallout scenery in there. I've got some figures in there. Those are my ships waiting to be rigged up. Then we come to what you might call the business area. So this is the painting station now. And as I said, I mentioned before, this started life as an office desk, and the reason I got it is you can fold it. So it's got very strong sort of legs with wheels on, and it actually folds up, and I built these sort of shelves on it. And for many years I was using this as a keyboard stand. I was gigging with this as a keyboard stand, so I'd have one keyboard across the top here and another one here. It all folded up or turned upright, so it was easy to get in and out the van. And yeah, I used this for quite a while. If there's any other keyboard players out there, then you'll know most times keyboard players what's called an X stand, which is normally quite a flimsy metal contraption shaped like an X, and they do have a propensity to break, which is not great if you're in the middle of a gig. Of course you can get heavy duty ones, but something like this, I wanted to recreate the feel and look of the old Hammond organ, so this really did the job. But of course I'm not gigging with that gear anymore, so this has lain dormant for quite some time. However, I think it is now being put to excellent use. So there's the paints all in their trays. That shelf there can have the laptop and the phone on it. I've got a speaker if I want to play some music. Brushes, water, various different types of glue, blue tack. And then for painting I often use something like this, a Lazy Susan. It just lifts figures up a bit, and of course it makes it easier to turn them, rotate them. A few tools and bits and pieces. So basically everything is in reach. And there's my 1/1200 sails. They're finished and painted now, they just need gluing to the ships. So yeah, and as I said, the beauty of this is if we want to get a couple of tables out, then I can just move all the paints and stuff onto the shelves, either those shelves or these shelves here, and I can actually fold that table up. So this will then also be a gaming area. I've got two 6-foot tables, 2x6 tables, which will fit in here quite nicely. Now in terms of lighting, you'll notice I've got no natural daylight in here unless I have the doors open, which is fine in summer, not so good at this time of year. I bought these LED fluorescent lights which give a nice sort of daylight effect. So I've got one there over the painting area and the other one over the filming area, and then of course for painting I've got all these other lights I can set up as well. A sort of desk light here to go over, so I'm covered from all angles. So there is another space of course behind the dragon. What lies behind the dragon? Beyond the dragon. That's about another third of the shed there. We've got a fair size space. As you can see there's still a lot of stuff in there. Now it might not look like it, but that has all been tidied up and boxed, so I know exactly what is what. And the final stage will just be to clear that area out, and then we can expand this a little bit, really just to give more room for gaming. I've spoken about lighting, but just to mention heating as well. I've actually got 3 heaters on here. I've had this for ages. It's like a towel rail, so it stays mild. It's just warm to the touch. It's really for drying towels and stuff. But I found keeping this on just keeps the damp out of the shed, especially when the weather is like this. So that costs pennies to run, so that is on 24/7. I was also using this electric heater for a while, much more expensive to run, and basically it only heats up the air just in front of it, so that's under there for emergencies. And the main heater now is this oil-filled radiator. Again, that doesn't cost much to run, and that really throws off a good amount of heat. So if I stick that in the middle of the room, the whole shed warms up very quickly now. This old sideboard here, by the way, that belonged to my nan, so you can call that a family heirloom, I suppose. I can't imagine it's at all valuable or anything else, but I couldn't bring myself to chuck it out. And, you know, it still works. The drawer's open, it's got cupboards in there, what more do you need? So we've got under here, this is a box of stuff that is currently to be worked on. I think most of this I've shown already. Well, apart from these, I'll do a separate piece on these. I did find an old figure box at the back of the shed, and the foam in it had perished and sort of covered all these figures. So I'm going to give those a clean up. But there's some real great old figures here. I think there's a Barry Minnow Conan figure, lots of other good old stuff. So I shall give those a clean up at some point. And then here's all my fantasy stuff. Most of it is ready to be painted. There's the skeletons that are sort of 95% done. My lovely big spider, of course. So I think given the time frame, it's been, what, maybe 3 months or so, and given the expense, which I think came to about 300 quid or so, maybe a little bit more, but that was offset by being able to sell a few of my old keyboard amps, so that covered at least half of that cost. Given the time, given the expense, I'm very pleased with how this has worked out, and of course now it means I can do a lot more filming, get all my painting done of all those projects, and also because I can leave stuff set up on the table here, I can start doing some build projects as well. I'm going to be looking at making some terrain, some buildings, some terrain specifically for my fantasy skirmish game, which I'm going to be working on the rules of that over Christmas. So all that is to come next year. Before I go today, I just want to say a big thank you, because we've hit our 100 subscriber mark. In fact, we've just gone over it. So a big thanks to everyone who subscribed to the channel, and thanks very much for all your comments. Please do keep them coming in. I've noticed we've got a couple of people signed up on the Discord as well, so I will get a little bit more active as well. Always pleased to get your feedback, so any hints, tips, agreements, disagreements, suggestions, do let me know. As always, if you haven't already and you're enjoying the channel, please do like, share and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. Okay, so that's it for now. I'm off to get my vampire counts ready for Sunday, and I'll see you next time.